Hi, it's Vex, and today we have our third Dimir commander from Crimson Vow. I know they really wanted to print more and more Dimir commanders. This is our third one, Crimson Vow, Runo, Stromkirk. But this is a different commander, of course, because you can't make all Dimir commanders the same. It's one blue and a black, legendary creature, vampire, cleric. That doesn't really matter if it's vampire or a cleric. What really matters is the text box, flying. When Runo Stromkirk enters the battlefield, put up to one target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that, oops, dropped it. You may reveal that card. If a creature card with mana value 6 or greater is revealed this way, transform Runo Stromkirk. The bam. So this is the important part here. Kruthis, Lord of the Deep, legendary creature, KRAKEN, horror, flying. So whenever this dude creates attacks, create a tapped attacking token that's a copy of another target creature, attacking creature. If that creature is a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, create 2 of those tokens instead. So, finally, the back of the card, the bottom of the back of the card tells you what kind of deck you want to make right here. Make a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent deck. Basically a Sea Monsters deck. Because you want to make a Sea Monsters deck, and because Runo cares about it, that's why you have the 6 mana value right there. So what Runo does is you play Runo for cheap, of course. You want to hopefully have something in the graveyard. If not, spike a 6 mana value creature on top, flip Runo into Kruthis. I think I'm saying it right. Kruthis, Lord of the Deep. And then finally attack with Kruthis. Kruthis has flying, so it has a little evasion. Then you create a token of another creature, another attacking creature right here, right? Another target attacking creature. Bam, you create 1 token of another regular creature or 2 tokens of a sea monster. Okay, so that is a lot to swallow because this complex card is a complex card because Wizards wants to make word soup on one side of the card and then word soup on the other side of the card. But basically Sea Monsters deck. So let's actually look into the Sea Monsters deck we have. Again, don't forget your tokens. Got my little Kraken tokens, illusions, little tentacles. So, and then of course your copy tokens. Okay, so here we have a big pile of Sea Monsters. That's right, our Sea Monsters that cost 6 and above. Of course, you kind of want the 6 and above creatures to intersect with the, the 4 creature types on the backside of Runo right here. Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent. Because, they're usually big creatures. That's why I call Sea Monsters. Before we go into individual card choices, I do want to tell you about deck construction, the speed of EDH, such like that. This is a great time to have that Rule 0 conversation. Look, this deck is a slow deck, right? It requires you to have a 6 mana value creature. We have a pile of them right here. Using EDH, you barely have any 7 mana value cards. 8 mana value cards are hard to come by, maybe 1 9 mana value cards. Well, we have lots of them here. So this deck is slow compared to your typical EDH deck. So maybe you want to talk to your play group saying, I want to play a little slower game. I have big Sea Monsters. Most of the time, if you're playing against a very fast, very powerful meta, Runo is not going to stand a chance. So just definitely have that conversation there. However, if you happen to be on that meta and you happen to actually survive the first 2-3 attacks, you are the player with the best position because you have Haymaker after Haymaker monsters coming down constantly and then doubling with Runo's trigger. Another type of deck consideration is I've seen a lot of deck lists with Runo have like Entomb type deals where you take a card from your library and put it into your graveyard so you can use Runo to put it back on top of your graveyard. But there's like card negative like Entomb, Buried Alive, such like that. So the way I built this deck is not to just throw things in the graveyard. If things naturally go to the graveyard for Runo's trigger, great. If you naturally get a card, blind flip. Essentially, you're just like, this is the top of my deck. I pass. I go to my turn. And I'm just like, hey, look at the top card. Oh, there you go. 6 mana value. Perfect. And I also have cards that manipulate the top of the deck. So I don't want to lose value, like entombing, playing Runo, entombing, and then somebody killing Runo and the trigger doesn't happen. Then I put Runo back to the command zone. I'm down 1 card. Again, cards are very important in this deck because all you have, you need to draw a bunch of cards to get to your low mana value cards because, again, you have a giant stack of very high mana value cards that you might not be able to play for a while. So I didn't want to include those Entomb type effects in the deck. All right, with that being said, let's go through the Sea Monsters. Here we have our 6 mana value sea monsters. And the first one is River Serpent. And conveniently, who needs Entomb when River Serpent can put itself right into the graveyard for 1 blue, because you can cycle it. That's what it's there for. The rest of the text, it is a Serpent, 5/5. It can't attack unless there are 5 more cards in your graveyard. It doesn't matter because we're playing it for its creature type just in case we would need to cast it, but mainly just to cycle it. So it's a way to get it into our graveyard, no problem at all. Its brother, Striped River Winder, again, a 7 mana value creature, hexproof, which is good, but mainly for the cycling, get into the graveyard. This is the fun part. I actually have a friend in my playgroup that plays big sea monsters. I've seen these monsters crush me to death, of course. These are our big beaters. Inkwell Leviathan, 9 mana value. Almost unheard of in EDH today, these 9 mana value, just big beaters. Which, I really like that they made Runo as a commander because it brings you back to Battlecruiser magic. You can play these big creatures, attack with them. Runo gains value, so it's all good. Right here, Inkwell Leviathan, Island Walk, Trample. So whoever's playing blue is going to get smacked for 7 damage. Pearl Lake Ancient, another, it's not 9, but a 7 mana value creature. It's got flash, which is great. So you can hold it up to the end of the turn. Prowess, which is great too. And it's got a little evasion. Return 3 lands you control to their owner's hand. Return Pearl Lake Ancient to its owner's hand. So it's a little bit of finisher right there, Leviathan. The cool part's flash, so you might be able to, and it's the same mana value as Cyclonic Rift. So you can hold Cyclonic Rift or Pearl Lake Ancient. So, kind of cool. Right there, Lockmere Serpent. This is Dimir. So most of the sea monsters are blue, obviously. So you look at here. We do have some blue-black ones. Not black, but blue-black. And then it's cool. It's got flash again, 6 mana value. So just enough for Runo. This is actually made Throne of Eldraine. Of course, Throne of Eldraine cards are pushed, so why not have a pushed Serpent here? 7/7 flash. This is a 6/7 flash. Right there. You second island, can't be blocked, unblockable. Second swamp, gain 1 life, draw a card. And then you bring it back from the graveyard to hand. So Lockmere Serpent, excellent card. Serpent of Yawning Depths. So this funny part is I was looking for this card in my entire Theros collection because that's a Theros set symbol. This is not part of the main set. This is only in the themed boosters or colored boosters. It's actually a pretty expensive card. So 6 mana value. And the cool part is essentially makes things unblockable. Kraken's Leviathan, Octopuses, Serpents you control can't be blocked except by Kraken's Leviathan, Octopuses, and Serpents. So if you have mirror match, then you can block. But essentially makes all your big beaters and itself unblockable. You thought Inkwell Leviathan at 9 mana value was big, but just look at this. 7 blue, 10 mana value. Creature Kraken for only 6/6. I know, lame. But you mainly don't cast the 10 mana value side, you just suspend it. Tune blue, suspend 9. When our opponent casts a spell, remove a time counter from it, then eventually you could cast it. And it is truly unblockable because it actually has the word unblockable on it. Let's see me try to pronounce this card. Tromokratis. That's right, 7 mana value. Hexproof, can't be blocked unless all creatures defending player controls block it. So, not unblockable, but makes other things unblockable if they want to block this creature. Right, there's 7 mana value. Of course, go up to 8 mana value. I know these things are gigantic. Now, I know, it's like the average converted mana cost or mana value of this deck is insane. But it's fun to play these giant beaters. Stormtide Leviathan, right here, 5 blue. Island Walk, so if your opponent has islands, it's great. You just beat right in. All lands are islands in addition to other types. Well, that makes it almost unblockable, essentially. Creatures without flying or Island Walk can't attack. Wow. That includes you, too. So be careful. Stormtide Leviathan, if you have Inkwell Leviathan right there, has Island Walk, so it can attack. But these other guys can't attack because they don't have Island Walk. Remember that. Creatures without flying or Island Walk can't attack. Runo can still attack because it's flying. Right here we have, this is crazy too, we have 8 mana value, Slin Voda, the Rising Deep, right here. So after these big beaters, there's some big beater Leviathans that also have cool abilities. The sea monster is known for kind of like freezing or bouncing or icing. So this is a bounce one, Slin Voda, 8/8 Leviathan with kicker, so you pay up to 10 mana value, 10 mana, wow. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return all creatures to their owner's hands except for sea monsters. I'm just going to call this sea monsters, except for it has additional merfolk clause, so weird. Usually they're grouped, Krakens, Leviathan, Octopuses, and Serpents, but this one has merfolk for some reason. So this one's a mass bounce here. All your creatures mostly are those types, so you don't have to worry about things getting bounced, so it's really cool. Scourge of the Fleet, 7 mana value. When it ETBs, return each creature your opponents control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. Usually, by the time you cast this, you have a bunch of islands. You return all tokens, mostly all creatures. So, love the bounce. It's like 2 of these cards are just one-sided bounce spells. Junk Winder. So this is pretty neat for Modern Horizons 2 here. I wanted to include this in the deck because, you know, it's got the word affinity. It's fun. Affinity for tokens. So if you get a bunch of tokens from Runo, you can cast this for the cheap. And then when tokens ETBs, tap target non-land permanent opponent controls. It doesn't untap during its untap step. So that's like the freezing ability I was talking about. And then if Runo creates 2 tokens, so imagine if you have Junk Winder on the battlefield and you create 2 tokens of Junk Winders, then they would all trigger and then you could just start tapping things and freezing things. So it's really cool here. Did I say cool? I mean frigid, because, you know, freeze. Anyways, moving on. We have Shipbreaker Kraken from Theros. I know all these sets have a lot of Krakens. You got Time Spiral, you got Theros, you got the Innistrad, I think some Zendikars there. So it's pretty neat. Shipbreaker Krakens, you got Monstrosity. Of course, you're paying 6, so it's very cheap for a 6/6 Kraken, I'll tell you that, considering what the deck is all about there. But if you pay 8, you get to Monstrous, make it 10/10 Kraken, tap 4 things, freeze 4 things. So sweet. We have a card from Commander 14. I'm not sure if it's from another set, but Breaching Leviathan, 9 mana value. ETBs, if you cast it from hand, tap all non-blue creatures. They don't untap, so more freezing. You have all blue creatures, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're playing against 3 other blue players, Breaching Leviathan sucks. We have Lorthos, the Tide Maker here, another from C14. I believe this is the one that's, okay, I think this is the original C14 one. This is the one from Zendikar. Anyways, but I digress. 5 blue, right here. 8 mana value. This is all about 8. It's kind of like Octavia. But when Lorthos, and Octavia is not in the deck, by the way, because Octavia requires like spells and stuff. This is all about creatures. All right, moving on again. When it attacks, you may pay 8 mana. If you do, tap up to 8 target permanents, and they get frosted. You see how the theme of this deck is things cost a lot. It costs a lot to even pay the triggered ability here. It costs a lot to do the Monstrosity. But if you get to the end game, you are the ultimate player, the ultimate end game player right there. Another one. Ooh, look at this. Eldrazi one. Elder Deep Fiend. It's an Eldrazi Octopus right here. It's got flash. I love these creatures with flash. And the cool thing is it's got Emerge right here, which we don't see very often in EDH, but you may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying its emerge cost reduced by the creature's converted mana cost, which is really cool. And then when you cast Elder Deep Fiend, tap other 4 target permanents. So you can tap things, save yourself from an attack, or, you know, tap your opponent's creatures and attack your big stuff. We have a new card from Crimson Vow, Hullbreaker Horror, Kraken Horror. I actually just learned that this is actually the same creature, the back creature of Thing in Ice. It's got the exact same stats, 7/8. It's flash. Can't be countered. And then when you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So a little more bounce action there. So that's kind of neat. They have Hullbreaker Horror. Then we have Spawning Kraken. So now, after all the bounce and freezing, we want to make more Krakens because it's fun. 5 and blue, so it's really cheap for a 6/6. Whenever a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 9/9 blue Kraken creature token. So that's awesome. And that is the token right here. It's 9/9 token I'm talking about. We have additional value creatures. Trench Behemoth, 7 mana value. Return land you control its owner's hand against hexproof. Then when landfall, essentially target creature or opponent controls attacks during its controller's next combat phase if able. So you kind of like, it's not really goad, because goad means you can't attack you, but it's kind of goading. It's pretty neat. Garuda, Doom of Depths. This is not his companion, so ignore that companion clause. But Garuda is really cool. I love 6 mana, 6/6s, because it's good value right there, the stats. When Garuda enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into the graveyard. Put a creature card with an even mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield on your control. So you need a little extra value with Garuda right there. Even if you know some of these creatures are legendary, like Lorthos or Garuda, like even if you get double tokens, Garuda is really cool because you could double trigger the Garudas and you know, like legend roll 2 of them out. So even with that, it's cool. Lorthos not really great value in copying that one. Speaking of cool legendary Krakens, Rexel, the Risen Deep, 3 blue, black. 6-mana value again, perfect for Runo, 5/8. Island Walk and Swamp Walk, so it's great with Urborg here. Then whenever it deals damage to a player, you may cast our instant sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If it would be put in the graveyard, then exile it. So this is sweet, cool, not really good copy of Runo, but it is a cool Kraken for the deck. So those are your 6-mana value and above Krakens here. There are a bunch of them. I didn't put that many because if I put even more, then I'll just never be able to play this game because I'll just have so many cards waiting to be cast while I die. So we have other Krakens that are a little, don't trigger the Runo flip ability, but are Krakens or sea monsters, I should say, that help keep us alive, keep us moving. Nadir Kraken here. Whenever you draw a card, pay 1, make a little tentacle. Sea Dasher Octopus has a little mutate, but can be flashed in, helps draw cards right there, deal combat damage, draw a card. Storm Surge Kraken, 5-mana value. I know you're like, why include 5-mana value Kraken when you include 6-mana value? Because it's cool. Because you do need low mana value cards, just to play in your early turns. Hexproof is very good. And then it has Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, gets +2/+2, and has whenever Storm Surge Kraken becomes blocked, you may draw 2 cards. So very good, because you can always play Runo on turn 3 or turn 4. Play Storm Surge Kraken on turn 4 or 5. And then this guy is a 7/7 hexproof, hard to kill, and then you can attack, get some value, draw some cards. So that's why. Then you have Mesmerizing Benthic, 3 blue. ETB, create some illusion tokens right there. So it gives you more fodder to block with. And it has hexproof, as long as you control illusions. So those are our base sea monster creatures. These are our additional value creatures here. Glassbowl Mimic, you can copy some things. Spark Double, copy some things. So those are the additional value copy creatures. All right, let's go to the rest of the deck. Put this underneath Runo here. Let chill on the side right there. Let's go to the rest of our deck. And as I said earlier, we're not about doing entomb things, putting directly to a graveyard. We want to just be able to manipulate the top of our deck to help Runo out here. And even without Runo on the battlefield, trying to peek at the top of our deck, flipping Runo, we can still get value from these cards. Like Sensei's Divine Top, very good way to manipulate the top of our deck. We have cantrips right here, Brainstorm, Ponder, Serum Visions, even the lands help. Halimar Depths help you, look at top 3, manipulate them. These are also, cheap plays that you play in the early game. You can keep spinning the top when you're setting up your mana to play your big cards. Vampiric Tutor, very good way to set the top of your deck at instant speed at the end of the opponent's turn right before Runo would flip. So those are very good ways to set the top of your deck. Then you have your tutors. We have Vampiric Tutor. Might as well, we have good Demonic Tutor. Some removal. I think blue has very good removal here. They have Pongify. 1 mana removal is very good because you're gonna be clamped on mana. Rapid Hybridization, good here. Feed the Swarm. Even though it's a sorcery, it does kill any creature, and you do take a little damage, but it kills creatures or enchantments, which black-blue has very little ways to do. There we go. Of course, we have the very good removal in Cyclonic Rift, bounce everything. And then because we're playing Sea Monster, we could play this card, Whelming Wave. 2 blue. Return all creatures to the owner's hands except for the Sea Monsters. So it's very good. Buys you some time, because that's all you want is time. We have Crush of Tentacles here, another Sea Monster card, 4 blue. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands. If Crush of Tentacles Surge cost was paid, make an 8/8 big octopus creature token. Surge is kind of hard to do in this deck unless you play like a Brainstorm and then Crush of Tentacles. Then it's easier to do. But usually, hopefully, you could plan for that in advance. Other removal, hard removal like Toxic Deluge, Damnation, right there. So those are the removal package and the top deck manipulation, along with Demonic Tutor to tutor your deck. We also have natural ways of bringing things to the graveyard here, like card draw, Frantic Search. I love this because it's better than Tomb because it just allows you just to filter through your deck, get some value. Factor Fiction is always good value. Play at instant speed, put things in the bottom of your deck. Ristic Study. I mean, there's nothing else that needs to be said about Ristic Study. Insanely good card draw. Then we have our another card draw, Sea Great Restoration. It's usually We're playing high counter lands, so we're playing a little extra modal double face cards and Seagate Restoration just to speed up, have additional land count, not speed up our clock, but additional land count. You have Malakir Rebirth right here. I really like this card because sea monsters are expensive, so you want to save them, but mostly it's there for land. And in case if you do flood out, which I don't think you would, you just keep playing your lands until you have like 15 lands in this deck. You could play the front half. And then one of my favorites is Planar Bridge. Ways to cheat in sea monsters. You play for 6, tap for 8, search your deck. I know people like Quicksilver Amulet because you can put stuff from your hand, but here you just always get stuff from your deck. It's always live, always good. Planar Bridge. We have some protection here in Lightning Greaves. As I mentioned about Quicksilver Amulet, we have a better card. Quest for Ula's Temple costs 1 blue. At the beginning of upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you may reveal it and put a quest counter on Quest for Ula's Temple. Then at the beginning of each end step, if there are 3 or more quest counters on Quest for Ula's Temple, you may put a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So once you have your counters on here, you can put stuff on your hand without even paying mana cost. So a little better than Quicksilver Amulet or mana efficient. I shouldn't say better. All right, so we have our ramp section here, and then we have a very important ramp card, Heartless Summoning, right there. And I'm glad Runo is in black, so I can play this card, 1 in black. Creature spells you control cost 2 less to cast, which is amazing and very necessary in this deck. The downside is creatures you control get -1/-1. It doesn't matter. You're playing big sea monsters. It is what it is. Burnished Heart, Solemn Simulacrum, so good ramp spells here. Remember, if you do have Runo's flip side, you have Burnished Heart or Solemn Simulacrum on the board, you could just suicide Solemn Simulacrum, copy it, and make an additional copy. You don't get 2 copies, but you still get to do the ramp thing. So just remember that could come up as well. We have other traditional ramp as Wayfarer's Bauble, our Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Demir's Signet, Mind Stone, Talisman of Dominus, Thought Vessel. So usually you have the 2 mana value ramp right here. I do try not to, I avoid using 3 mana value ramp, but you know what? We need it bad. Skyclave Relic right here, Thurn Dynamo, Expedition Map, additional ways to find your Cabal Coffers or board because we need mana. Nykthos, because we're playing a lot of blue, right there. Ancient Tomb, so these are kind of like rampy cards. Right there, on land. Smooth these out of the way. Rampy cards. Then we have our lands. This is not technically a ramp card, but it's a compact, I call it compact land package where you play 2 mana, gets you 2 mana from 1 card. So it helps make things more compact. It's like Myriad Landscape. There's a Saga's in here for the Expedition Map, Soul Ring, find all the good stuff, Skyclave Relic if necessary. Then you have your multicolored lands. Command Tower, you have Path of Ancestry. You're like, Vex, why include this? You have a Vampire Cleric. But remember that your commander can also be a Kraken Horror. That's why that's in the deck. You have Shipwreck Marsh, new card from Midnight Hunt. Your usual suspects here. We do play extra lands in this deck to make things happen with Runo. We have utility cards, Castle of Andros, Bajuka Bog, always have Greater Hate, at least 1. That's all we have, but at least we have something better than nothing. Then we have a Korea Bonder's Enclave, 3, tap, draw a card. Activates ability only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which a lot of our sea monsters have, and some basic lands. Way more islands than we have swamps. They're there. So that is the deck. If you enjoyed this deck tech, actually give the video a thumbs up. Not the deck a thumbs up. Well, give the deck a thumbs up too. Why not? Give the video a thumbs up. Smash subscribe. Hit notification bell to be alerted for new videos. I have my TCG Player affiliate link and deck list in the description below. I also have my channel Fireball affiliate link if you type in Vex MTG. Anyways, I'm going to shuffle this giant deck up with giant sea monsters. Do a little gold fishing as I always do. And then we'll be right back. We are back. Let's see, turn 1, Runo Stromkirk. I think there's another Stromkirk. There's like a whole family of Stromkirks in the game. Let's just start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can always cast Runo and use it as a blocker, a 1/4 blocker early, but Runo is a cheap, 3 mana value creature. But we're all about big daddy sea monsters. Check out what we got. Ancient Tomb. So usually, if you notice in my deck text, I don't include Ancient Tomb that much. I only include it in decks that need a lot of mana fast, because there is a cost. That 2 damage does add up. Thurn Dynamo, Command Tower. So we got some bunch of lands. 5 mana producers, which is what we want. Striped River Winder, 6 and a blue, but cycling. So this can get your 6 mana value into the graveyard. Garuda, very good value here. I'm just pretend, even though I didn't bring any other decks with me, but I'm just gonna just flip over my deck a couple times just to pretend they're other decks. If we cast Garuda. Okay, anyways, let's start. Draw a card. Boom, Arcane Signet. That's sweet. You know what's really sweet? Ancient Tomb, Arcane Signet, turn 1. Right there. Tap Ancient Tomb. Play Arcane Signet, turn 1. I mean, our play turn 1 was usually just Command Tower and cycle Striped River Winder. But you know, we still could cycle Striped River Winder. It's hard to say that name. Striped River Winder with our Arcane Signet. Draw a card. Serum Visions. Sweet. We can use this to help sculpt our hand. So turn 2, we're off to a very powerful start. That's why 2 mana value mana rocks are very strong, because you can do this. Ancient Tomb, Arcane Signet. Or you do Land, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Things like that. Very strong. Alright. Turn 2. We can just play our commander. Right here, Command Tower. We have 4 mana. We can play our commander, or we can set up our Thuran Dynamo and get ready to go crazy in future turns. So let's actually just set up our Thuran Dynamo right there. Let's see here. Yeah, set up our Thuran Dynamo. Because what's going to happen is if we play our commander, we can flip our commander, but we have nothing to attack with. So we just need big mana, so we play a creature. So when we're ready to attack with our commander, we can. Alright, so now we got good mana here. Turn 3. Let's see what we could draw here. A swamp, more lands, no problem. We'll just play, remember, islands are more important than swamps, so we can play our island here. So let's actually prioritize trying to get our, see how much mana we got. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we cannot play our commander and Garuda at the same time. But Garuda could get somebody else into play with it. So I would, you know, let's see. This is an interesting question. So we do have an extra mana. Let's just spend it playing our Serum Visions to see what we get, right? Draw a card here. Shipbreaker Kraken. All right, and then scry 2. More mana here. I think our hand is 2 more lands, and we got tons of mana, so I think what we want to do is ship some mana down to the bottom and just see what we get. And right now, I think the best thing to do is to actually cast our Garuda here. Just cast the big fatty. I mean, we came here to play big fatties, right? Cast our Garuda right there. And then each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. I'm just gonna, you know, just take 8 cards here. Pretend they're other players. 4. So no even cast creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little whiffy whiff right there. That's okay though. Sometimes you whiff with Garuda. Right there. Okay, so we'll cast Garuda. That's pretty good. 6/6 on turn 3. Can't complain about that. Turn 4 here. Land, mana rocks. Draw a card. Sometimes you whiff. Oh man, 1 card away from Solemn Simulacrum here. But that's okay. We'll play our Underground River right there. We could now play our, tap this for 3 colorless. 5 colorless. Okay, let's just use one of the colorless here. A blue, then a black. For Runo. And now we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we play Shipbreaker Kraken right here. And it doesn't do anything to you monstrosity it. Right there. Right there. Just play all our cards here. And then when ETBs, put up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Of course, we want to put our Striped River Winder on top of our library. Because being upkeep, we're going to look at top of our library, which is a Striped River Winder here. And then if it's mana value 6 or greater, transform Runo. Alright, so now we go pass. Hopefully you keep Runo on the battlefield. Right there, turn 5. Usually Runo and all this shenanigans doesn't come up that fast, but we did get lucky by having Ancient Tomb, Arcane Signet, and Thuran Dynamo. We put those in our deck for a reason. Okay, so now we will, you know, look at top card of my library, which is this card, of course. We will reveal it, mana value 6 or greater. Runo transforms into Krathus, Lord of the Deep. Right there, flying. Whenever it attacks, create an attacking creature that's a copy of another target attacking creature. So you have to attack with Krathus and another creature. This goes into our hand here. That's what we draw for the turn. So what we can do is play our land here. And first things first is that we do have the 10 mana to Monstrosity 4. Monstrosity you can do at instant speed. Right, you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have all 10 mana doing the Monstrosity right here. Let's read this. Becomes monstrous, tap up to 4 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during the control's untapped steps for as long as you can control Shipbreaker, Kraken. So you're going to do monstrous one time. You can't continually monstrous. So what we could do is we could tap all this to do monstrosity on our Shipbreaker, Kraken. Tap one opponent down so we can safely attack with our Krathus. Remember that? So we can attack with this, and then what we could do is figure out which one we want to attack with because you get double tokens. So I think what we want to do is attack with another Shipbreaker, Kraken. Right there. Attack with Garuda, why not? And then what's going to happen is you get to create 2 copies, right? If that creature is Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, create 2 of those tokens. So this guy is a Kraken. So I will create 2 of these Kraken tokens. Oops, I'll just do the copy tokens. Right there. That is tapped and attacking. Right there, tapped and attacking. I know you read all this long text. So you have 2 more Shipbreaker Krakens right there, tapped and attacking. Just super cool. Which means that as long as this stays alive, those 4 creatures stay tapped. And guess what? We can do it again. I know it costs 10 and 10, 20 more mana. But, you know, we get our 6/6s, bam, in the red zone. So if you're attacking somebody who can't block, you would deal 10, 13, plus 12 is 25 damage on turn 5. All right, next turn, turn 6. Here, Inkwell Leviathan, that's a good draw right here. We do have the 10 mana to do all the shenanigans we need. There, untap here. Our Shipbreaker Kraken copies. Right there. Let's see what we got. I mean, we can always start by, if we need to tap down more blockers to keep Krathus alive, we can pay 10 mana, do monstrosity on this Shipbreaker Kraken, you know. Or we can copy Garuda. That's pretty neat there. Garuda is super neat because you get some more material on the battlefield, so you can always attack with this guy, and this guy. Sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. If Krathus dies, you got plenty of mana to recast it. So let's do Garuda. Garuda creates 2 token copies, but they're legendary rules. But you know, we just flip over some cards. For instance, like right there. Let's pretend 8 cards again. Oh, that's an E, like Lochmere Serpent is one of them. Then another 8 card for Garuda. Here, nope, not there. 8 cards. Right there, that's a DC Kraken. That's even converted mana cost. Something like that. Bam. Remember, you still have your opponent's decks. I just don't have any decks here because I forgot to set up for Garuda. So these go into play. So it's pretty cool. You just traded your Garuda token copies for like real cards. And then you still have all your mana here. You could do, you know, Solemn Simulacrum, get a land. I mean, if you attack with Solemn Simulacrum, it's not bad. You can make another one, get another land. You can copy Solemn Simulacrum. You only get 1 copy. But, you know, copying these things is not, copying Solemn is not a bad idea either. Anyways, that's kind of how this deck works. You get a lot of mana. Your commander start doubling up, get some cool triggers, do some things. Like this one is unblockable, so that's pretty sweet. You usually suspend this. I mean, right there. Suspend that. Lochmere Serpent is pretty sweet. Here you can stack islands. Inkwell Leviathan has island walk, so it's pretty neat. Anyways, this is how this deck works. Again, definitely have that Rule 0 conversation. This deck is slower. This deck was a little bit faster for us here because we had these great, amazing ramp cards. But usually it takes a while. These big beaters, you know, take a while to come out. But once you have these big beaters, it's hard to block these guys. Anyways, if you enjoyed this deck tech, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos coming up. And I have the deck list and TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. And as always, have a wonderful day.